Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is Arsenal versus Manchester United preview time. Hidden behind our QR code is my predicted lineup for the Arsenal game. But before we get into that, get your comments in below. What's your predicted 11? I'm loving doing this under Amorim. His rotational, his explanational, is that even a word? It's just motivational. And we're really excited, aren't we? And I'm sure there will be maybe some surprises for the Arsenal game. But there's two things I would say about this game straight away. We'll talk about Arsenal, but let's talk about the game itself. I've seen a few people this morning saying that Arsenal and Arteta have got the blueprint to demolish Amorim Ball because they demolished Sporting last week, and Sporting are obviously Amorim's team. I've also seen stuff about how Amorim can basically end Arsenal's title hopes. And trust me, I think they're over anyway, but if they don't want them to be over, they can't afford to lose. They can't afford to draw. If United get anything, draw or win on Wednesday, Arsenal slim title hopes are over. So there's a lot riding on this game. First of all, the tactical. Do Arsenal know anything about Amorim Ball because they demolished Sporting last week? They were brilliant against Sporting last week. Brilliant. Probably the best performance I've seen of the season from Arsenal. They were very, very, very good. We're not going to play like that. Sporting were at home. I think they probably underestimated Arsenal, and they certainly didn't play anywhere near as conservatively as they did against Man City when they demolished Man City. We're going to the Emirates. We don't have Amorim with Sporting, where he's been working on it for years. He's been working on it for days. I think we will see a more Man United performance like the Sporting against Man City one, where the 3 become a 5 a lot, and we pay the opposition a lot more respect and look to hurt them with counters. And I think that's completely understandable. So I don't think there's anything from Arsenal last week against Sporting that they can take into this game, because I think we'll approach it very, very differently. Raymond says, it's snowing in New York, and it's really getting me in the festive mood for Christmas. Very excited for the Arsenal game and Wednesday. Hope we can get a good result. Well, whilst you're watching this in a festive mood, Raymond, you can admire my tree. I don't care about results this year. Progress is key. That is all. Oliver, there's a virtual handshake. I'm absolutely on board with this. I've not felt like this about United for a long time. I'm really not that bothered about results. It really is about progress and finding out who's going to go on this journey with us and who's not. And I absolutely guarantee you there will be ups and downs. We will have more losses, we will have more wins, and the important thing is to stay the course. Right, let's have a look at just by the way, that QR code, Christmas jumpers, get them quickly. They are available worldwide. You can get them. The knitted jumper is sold out. So well done who got one of those. They're limited. You got it. Well done. I think there's a handful of small left if you want to get a small one, but there we go. Right, let me reveal my predicted lineup for the Arsenal game. Ta-da! There it is. Ta-da! It's Saar. That's my predicted lineup. I'm actually on a bit of a roll. My predicted lineup for Everton, I got 10 out of 11. The only one I got wrong was Casemiro instead of Eriksen. I'm confident I'll get 10 at least again this one. I'm very interested to read your comments. If you're not watching live, get yours in, your predicted 11s. But I think it really does look like a team that I think could get something at Arsenal. I'll talk about what my prediction is in a minute, but obviously I think De Ligt and Mazraoui will play. It's all about whether he goes with Shaw or Maguire, but obviously for balance, left-footed, Shaw's played more minutes than Maguire in the last week, so surely it's Shaw. Dalot and Ahmad, of course, and they're going to have to do a lot of defensive work in this game. And also I think having Luke Shaw there, if Saka gives Dalot the run around, there's another left back there. And Saka is obviously one of the 2 threats in that Arsenal team. The second threat is Odegaard. I think Ugarte is very important for this. And Casemiro as well. I would just say to Casemiro, don't go acting like James Bond, licensed to thrill. Get sat in front of your back 3 and defend that space. And I think that's why Casemiro will obviously play with Ugarte with no Mainu available. And then the front 3, this is where, I mean, Mount for Rashford, says Sufyan. The front three is where it's most interesting. I think the rest of the team picks itself with no Mainu and Martinez because they're suspended. The front three is where you've got Xerxes, Mount, Garnacho, Bruno, Rashford, and Rasmus. You could go 3 from 6. This is exciting. This is where Player FC needs to die. Die and disappear. Because I don't really care what 3 he picks. It's exciting that you could go Mount, Garnacho, Rasmus. You could go Bruno, Rashford, and Xerxes. You could go Rasmus, Bruno, Garnacho. There's so many different things you could go with. But I think he'll go with this. Bruno's definitely playing. So actually it's 5 into 2. Bruno's not going to not play, is he? So actually, as exciting as I'm trying to make it out, Bruno's going to be one of the 3. Unless he puts Bruno where Casemiro is, which away from home, I think is too much of a risk. You need defensive discipline, especially against Arsenal. So Bruno's going to take one of those spots. I think Rasmus has to start to occupy the centre-backs. We've spoken about this before. You cannot play like we did against Everton, where Xerxes doesn't occupy the centre-backs because we're away from home. And what Arsenal will do is they'll move those centre-backs into the midfield and we'll get absolutely slaughtered. So we've got to keep their centre-backs pinned back. Rasmus is the player to do that. So really, if Rasmus is starting and Bruno is starting, there's one spot for Rashford, Mount, Xerxes and Garnacho. And I don't think Mount and Bruno work unless you really want to swamp the midfield. I don't think Mount and Xerxes work because I think Xerxes is more of a flair creative. And I think it comes down to Rashford and Garnacho. And you do want that breakaway pace. And I think he'll go for Rashford. I think he'll go. Well, obviously you know that. I think he'll go for Rashford. And as I said this morning, he's just scored 2 goals. He's the superstar of the team. He's one of the biggest earners in the team. And as much as I like Garnacho, I prefer Garnacho to Rashford. I don't care what anybody says. I do. I've always said that. But I do think Rashford should start because he is an asset that we are struggling to find a space for. And the best solution is that he is the solution. And he can't be a solution from the bench in a game like this. He needs to start and, can continue this re-energization. So that's the team I would go with. Obviously, I think pace is important, as Sufyan said as well. And I think that ideally, I might have even considered going Garnacho and Rashford behind Rasmus, but that would be dropping Bruno. I mean, this is something you probably won't hear anywhere else, but I wouldn't mind Garnacho and Rashford behind Erasmus because then you've got real, genuine break flair. But he's never going to drop Bruno, is he? Greg Donald says, what about Rashford up top? No, I mean, that's just easy work for Saliba and Gabriel. They're very physical centre-backs. I think Rashford gets swallowed up with that, really. So that's how I think we'll line up. Obviously, bench players are very important, and there are some good players that will be on the bench in that scenario. Garnacho, Mount, Xerxes, and obviously some defensive options as well. But that's how I think he's going to go. How do I think the game's going to go? Can Agate do a Ji-Sung marking job on Odegaard, says Ravel. Rashford off the bench running at tired legs, says Pete. That is an option. Bjorn says, did you find the twat cat? Yeah, he's absolutely fine now. Double D comes in as he dropped a banger. He says, we're going to have good and bad results, Mark. I want to win, but you've got to be realistic. The water from the tap is the same, and that's what Amorim has to work with. Very profound, as usual. Oliver Barnaby with the super chat says, Player FC is what ruins players. Players play well, they're back, have a bad game, they're the worst thing since sliced bread. And I agree, Oliver, and that's why I've put Rashford in the team, because he gets a lot of stick, and it's deserved, but I think at the moment, there's something to build with. Maybe you put him in the team, motivates Garnacho from the bench, and we get competition for places. Joel says, sure, he's not starting over Martinez. That won't happen in any world. Tell me you didn't watch the morning show without telling me you didn't watch the morning show. In fact, tell me you didn't watch the first 10 minutes of this show without telling me you didn't watch the first 10 minutes of this show. Somebody help him out. I think Mason Mount will start. Bruno in the midfield, says Fortune. And I don't care about result. I've done that from Oliver as well. Let's talk about Arsenal. Let's talk about prediction. Obviously, we know everything about Arsenal. They have a very, very, very good system under Arteta. If Amorim is days into his revolution, Arteta is years in. And they know that system. They're a lot better now they've got Odegaard back. They are very rhythmic. They're very much in a rhythm. They are amazing at set pieces. That's going to be a huge thing. They're at home and they don't really panic when they go behind as well. So I think that they are a very dangerous opposition. Saka and Odegaard are massive. Declan Rice is a very important player for them. Obviously, their centre-backs are very good. Their keeper's very good. And then they've got people like Havertz and Trossard and their fullbacks who contribute to a system that is very consistent. They haven't lost the game at home this season. Their record at home this season is very, very good. They've got 14 points from 6 games. They've lost they've not conceded. They've not lost any game at home. Both their losses came away from home to Newcastle and Bournemouth. So we are playing a team with 100% home record. One of only 3 teams who've got that now. You'll never guess the other 2. Brentford and Brighton didn't give you long. So Arsenal unbeaten at home, not beaten. Neither are Brentford, neither are Brighton. So that's what that's the challenge in front of us, is to go and beat a team that's got no margin for error. They have to win. They're 9 points off the top. It's not Man City. They've been waiting to take Man City's place for the last 2 years. Man City fall off and Liverpool have taken it. So pressure on Arsenal. They've got to win. And we know they're brilliant at set pieces and we know they're big favourites in this game. Obviously, looking at United's away record, he's only had 1 game away from home and that was Ipswich. We're currently 13th. We've won 1 game from 6. We've drawn 3 and we've lost 2. We've only scored 6 goals away from home this season, which puts us, only Everton are worse than us. So that's how bad we've been away from home this season. And I think that we know that most of that is coming from a previous manager, and we know that we've scored goals in the last few games as well. So look, there are reasons to be positive, but this is an enormous task for us. I don't normally predict a negative, but I don't really think it is a negative. I think it's a realistic. Arsenal are massive favourites. We're at the start of their journey. They're at nearly at the top of their journey. They're at home. They have to win. I'm going to say Arsenal win this 2-0. I think Arsenal will win this game. I'm not bothered. Well, I am bothered, but I'm not bothered in the sense of, oh, Amorim's fucking useless or these players are a waste of time. I just think where we are at the moment is we're not where Arsenal are. But if you want a positive, Brighton didn't get beaten at the Emirates. And we tend to do reasonably well at the Emirates. And I think when people write us off, we tend to go and express ourselves. I remember a couple of times, certainly under Ten Hag, we went there and we started off really well. In fact, we lost because of a bloody Garnacho's goal should have been given, and then they scored a silly goal on the back post, didn't they? I think it was Declan Rice. So we tend to go to the Emirates and do quite well. Remember that David De Gea game where he was unbelievable. So I think I'm going into this game eyes wide open. I think we're capable of getting a draw. I think we're capable of winning, but I'm not going to move away and do what some Arsenal fans want us to do and the media want us to do. I'm not going to overhype United, and I'm not going to say we're going to go there and win, because they want that. They want us to over-egg the pudding, put a bit of pressure on ourselves. Arsenal are the favourites. Arsenal need to win. Arsenal have all the pressure. We're just going there, taking tiny steps on our journey to progression. The mountain is huge and we are at the bottom of it. Arsenal, they're right near the top, so the pressure's on them. I think what we need to do in this game is go there and show progression. And if I was a player, I would be motivated by that, because Amorim knows the truth, like I know the truth and you know the truth. We know we can't trust these players just because they beat Everton and Bodo Glimt. We know we've had many false dawns. If some of these players perform badly against Arsenal, the same things will be said. Well, you know what? Leopards can't change their spots. Ultimately, they're just not big-time players. What we're looking for here are some performance of consistency and growth. That will not be measured against the manager. Obviously, the manager will take the credit for the formation and the selection if it works. But if it doesn't work, I don't think he's going to be taking the blame. I think the blame will be attributed to players who have consistently shown they're not capable. Whereas if they go and show they're capable, then they're showing progression for this manager and this fan base. So it's a win-win. I think it's a win for us. If we play badly and we get beaten, well, we already know this. If we play decent and get a draw, this is progression. If we play decent and we win, it's a massive confidence boost. So I think it's almost a free hit for Manchester United. But I do think Arsenal will win because maybe it'll be a controversial VAR. Maybe it'll be a comfortable 2-0 win. But I just feel with Arsenal, they have to win this game. And they are a very good side. I respect that. And they were fantastic against Sporting. And since Odegaard's come back, they just look like they're in a rhythm at the moment, and they know they've got to keep winning. And I think it's a huge task for United. But what I would say is I wouldn't swap this for any game. I think this is perfect. We've played Ipswich, we drew, beat Bodo Glimt, beat Everton. Now it's our first real test. After a few games with Amorim, let's play one of the best teams in the league at their ground and see where we are. Because beating Everton, beating Bodo Glimt, oh yeah, we're great. But in the back of your head, you're like, don't know much about Bodo Glimt, and Everton aren't that good. Arsenal at their place, even if we win and Arsenal have a bad day, that's not on us. We've still been to Arsenal and won. That's still a marker in the sand for what we can do. And I'm very excited about it. Cal says, I'm cautiously optimistic for the game. Matthias says, just had ACL surgery and you helped me a lot in my rehab to get back to football. Keep up the good work. Love the community. And good luck in your recuperation and rehabilitation, Matthias. Thank you very much for the update, and I hope you're doing okay. Razvan, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Chikorito says, any chance of you collaborating with Robbie? I've never even thought about it, mate. I mean, the door's always open. I mean, we had Robbie on our podcast a few months ago, so it's not for me to ask. I know he's got interest in another United channel, so that might not be why it's possible, but I'd be happy to do it. Can Agate do a G-Sung? I've done that one as well. Scott says, I see Xerxes starting so he can create chances for people around him. Rasmus will get bullied by the Arsenal defenders. I see a really badly thought out comment that's based on agenda and toxicity, Scott. I actually think it's a terrible opinion. So you want to play Xerxes because you don't like Rasmus. Okay, fair enough. That's not going to do you any good as a United fan going forward, by the way. We're trying to move away from all that, but each to their own. Secondly, we can only take a horse to water. We are playing Arsenal away, who will have more of the ball than us, and you think it's a good idea to play a striker that will drop off the centre-backs and allow their centre-backs to walk into our midfield. You need to understand the modern game. You need to understand when you're playing a team like Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal at their place, you need to pin their centre-backs back. I'd rather play Rashford than Xerxes because at least Arsenal would be worried about the ball over the top. We need to push their centre-backs back. If we let them come forward, they're pressing us back towards our goal. Why give them an invitation to that? So Xerxes yesterday gave Tarkowski and whoever else was the other centre-back a nightmare because they're at home and they want to sit deep and they haven't got anyone to mark. Saliba and Gabriel would bloody love it if Xerxes played because they'll just walk into the midfield one at a time. We need to play a centre forward that's going to try and push them back and look for the ball into the channels, which is why it's got to be Rasmus or Rashford for me. But that's just my opinion. City have Forest at home, Palace away, Juve away, then us. Can we get them with 10 games, no win? Says Ravel. I'm not thinking about Man City. I mean, that's going to be a great game, Ravel, but it's let's let these games unravel first. No, I mean, look, Man City's a great game in a couple of weeks, but we'll play. Let's not. I was doing That's Football, and we were talking about Liverpool, and a Liverpool fan got in the comments and said, whether we're title favourites, whether we're going to bottle it, I'm only thinking about the next game. And then when that's out the way, I'll think about the next game. That's Liverpool playing really well, 11 points clear from Man City and 9 points clear of Arsenal at the top. If Liverpool are thinking like that, we need to think like that. Let's stop looking 3 or 4 weeks ahead or 3 or 4 games ahead. Just deal day to day. The biggest, and we contribute to this, me, you and everybody, as fans, we're always like, whenever we win a game, but when are we going to win the league? Why do we do it? We'll just beat Everton 4-0. Do you think we'll win the league by next Christmas? Like, we do it. And I think we are not responsible for United's failure over the last 10 years. We've not bought the players. We're not the Glazers. We haven't let Old Trafford rot. But we are a factor, however small, because we do get overhyped. And we've just got to live day to day. Like, what if we lose to Arsenal on Wednesday? Are people going to wake up on Thursday and say the world's going to end, we're rubbish? But it won't be true. We'll have lost to one of the best teams in the league over the last 2 years, and we're nowhere near that level. So Man City will be very exciting. Let's see where we are. But it doesn't matter whether Man City bounce back against Forest, Palace and Juventus. It's still a Manchester derby. We've beaten Man City when they've been miles better than us. We were 2-0 down at half-time and beat them 3-2 at their place when they were going to get handled the title. So Man City's a Manchester derby. I'm focused on Arsenal, and I'm very excited about it. And it's an interesting one because I think we've been in this situation so many times with Arsenal over the years, going to their place for titles, for top four. What are we going for here? We're not going for top four. We're not going for a title. What we're going for here is progress. It's a progress report. It's about where we are compared to them. And also, it's not even really about Arsenal. It's still very much about Amorim trying to establish his best 11. So it makes me laugh to a certain extent that Arsenal fans are like making it into a big thing, and some United fans are, trying to talk about, oh, we're going to go and win. When for me, and I think many others, I'm like, whatever team he picks against Arsenal, I still don't think it's his best 11. I still think he's learning about his team. So we're on a journey. Whatever the result on Wednesday, we're on a journey, because there's no way that team on Wednesday, if it's that, is his best 11. There's a couple of players who are suspended, obviously, but I still think there are players in that 11 that haven't established themselves yet. I don't think Rasmus is the established number 9. I don't think Bruno and Rashford are the established 2 players in behind, because Bruno might find himself a little bit deeper. Is Dalot the left-sided player? Is Luke Shaw the left-sided centre-back? Is De Ligt and There's still so much to learn. Michael Oliver is refereeing another Man City fixture, says Methane. Even he can't save them at the moment. James Guy says, we need to combine Rasmus and Xerxes into one player. They both have the strengths that the other one needs. Hopefully they can learn from each other. And what if we played Xerxes in place of Rashford, and then he can draw centre-backs and create space for Rasmus, says Sabatashi. Yeah, look, as I said, it will be Rasmus, I think, Bruno, and then one from Rashford, Xerxes, Garnacho and Mount. I think it will be Rashford. It could be Garnacho. It could be Mount. It could be Xerxes. That's why you get your comments in below. Right, Michael Oliver. Who's refereeing our game? That is a bloody good question. I mean, look, I hope we're not in a position where a game is... I mean, VAR is still rubbish, but it's not been really in the headlines for quite a while because of... it's not really featured in disrupting any particular game, but... we don't want anything like that in a game like this. Jared Gillet is refereeing it, says M. Thank you very much there. Okay, well, look, just a bit of a change to the schedule as well. I am playing my EAFC career mode at 3 o'clock. We're back with that, excited. Probably going to get some bad results. Monday's always a bad one. But there is an Amorim's doing his press conference this evening. So I'm meant to be at 8 o'clock tonight. It will be a little bit earlier because Amorim's press conference is today. So I think that I'm not going to wait till 8 o'clock to react to it. So we may as well just bring the 8 o'clock show earlier tonight. So set your alarm clocks. It'll be an hour earlier. I didn't know Amorim was doing his press conference today. Never normally get it on a Monday for a Wednesday game. So things are changing. I think the quotes come out about 6. So we'll be live around 7. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you smash a like. Can I just say 2 things? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are actually 40 subscribers away from 977. We're not on 975, we're on 976, 955. So we're 40 subscribers away from 977. Some people think we can hit 2 million for Christmas. We're going to have a go, but we can't do it without you. So please do share the video and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you later on. Don't forget your Christmas jumpers, link in the video description, check them out, and we'll see you a little bit later. And also the second thing I meant to say was get in the comments with your predicted lineup or what you would do. Speak to you in a bit.